Hey everybody, welcome back to Home Built Workshop. This is going to be the first of what I plan to be regular project update videos. And that's where after a project is completed, we'll take a look at it and we'll see what went right, what went wrong, what would we change, and just look at some other aspects of the build and just see how everything went. For those of you that have seen my last video, you'll know I just built this step stool for my daughter. There was one thing that happened during the build that could have been a huge disaster, or I could have even got hurt in the process. When I was routing the dados on here, I was using a 1/2-inch router bit, which is not wide enough for the whole width of this board, so I had to run the dado in 2 passes, which is very common. A lot of people do that. What I did is I ran the first pass, and then I moved my fence and ran the second pass to get the width that I needed. But what I did was I moved my fence in. And what that did is that caused me to cut on the back side of the router bit. So when I was feeding the board through, I was going with the rotation of the router bit. And that could have been really bad because normally you cut against the router bit. The router turns counterclockwise and you feed, normally on a router table, you feed it on the side that you're standing on. So you're feeding against the router bit, against the rotation. Well, when I moved the fence in, that caused me to cut on the back side of the router bit. Well, you'd never cut on the back side of a router bit if you were running a piece by hand through there. But I just didn't think about that. I was kind of in a hurry and just trying to rush through it and get this thing done, and I didn't pay any attention to the fact that I was moving the fence in and not out. If I had moved the fence out, I would have still been cutting against the bit and everything would have been fine. Luckily, I didn't have any serious issues except a little bit of nasty tear out, but I could have had really bad kickback. I could have grabbed the board, pulled it through. Maybe I could have got my hand into the bit. It just really could have been bad. I just didn't think about that. So on to the step stool. Couple of things. First, it's way too high. I don't know what I was thinking. When I was shopping around for a replacement step stool after the plastic one broke, a lot of the ones I was finding were marked as a 12-inch step stool. I didn't really measure them or anything in the store. I just knew that they were 12-inch step stools, so I made it 12 inches tall. It's way too tall. You have to climb up on it. You can't just step on it and use it. So first thing I need to do, I need to lower this thing by at least 2 inches. I'm going to start by taking all my measurements from the underside of the top piece. I'm not going to go from the legs up. That way everything will reference the bottom side of this. And I'll just connect my lines. I already know this is going to affect the finish, but that's okay. And I'll turn it around, do the other side the exact same way, and cut it off with a jigsaw. I use the offcut piece to mark out the relief cuts on the legs. The jigsaw is not the best choice for this, but I don't really know any other way to do it. It's tricky to get a nice straight cut with a jigsaw, especially when I'm trying to have all 4 legs even. So I'm already anticipating having to file down legs individually to make sure there's no wobble. So one other thing I want to do is I want to reinforce this piece here with a couple of dowels. I've already marked out some marks on my center lines of the boards, and I'm going to drill straight down through and glue in some dowels. When I put this together, this center piece is just glued in. It's probably okay, but I don't want to chance it. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it now. I'll just glue the dowels in. I'll put a little bit of glue down in the hole. Get some on the dowel. And drive them down in there. Wipe off some of that glue. I realized also I need to invest in a flush cutting saw. I don't have one, so I'm just going to use a hacksaw blade, and it works fine. Now I'll just re-sand these edges. And I've got a little bit of wobble, which is to be expected. So I'm going to mark the leg that is holding me up and sand it down. Now that the legs are level and there's no wobbling, I'm just going to lightly sand the dowels down. Now with the dowels sanded smooth, I'm just going to take a Scotch-Brite pad and just rough up the outside edges just a little bit so that I can respray these. I touched up the areas that I had to sand down during these modifications with the same spray-on polyurethane that I used originally. Now the stool is at a much more manageable height and it's reinforced, and I'm not worried about it falling apart. So thanks for watching this first of several project update videos. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. And also, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at HomeBuiltShop. Thanks for watching.